Okay, let's try this shit again. Hello and welcome to the I Think I'm Insane podcast. Unfortunately, I don't have the spit or like the air protector, so don't listen to this podcast on a full blast. I am really sorry for your ears, especially because I like to laugh into my microphone. During this specific podcast episode, or maybe in the future too, you will hear some background sounds. And unfortunately, this is something that I cannot control. I wish I had a bit quieter room, and I wish I didn't need the windows open at the moment. But if I don't leave them open, I will literally die. Because it's July in Vienna and it's very, very hot. Originally, I was recording this podcast episode still in Vancouver. It was in January or February when I was married, when I had a dog. But life changes. Sometimes you cannot control what's happening around you, and I decided to re-record this episode to give it a new life and a new energy, because if something is standing around for too long, energy gets stuck and it's not the same anymore. Okay, I can't with those sounds. I will just go and shut that fucking window. Now we have our privacy again. I hope that I won't be sweating too much during this episode. You're probably wondering, why is this podcast called I Think I'm Insane? What is that name? What are you going to talk about, Elisa? By the way, hi, my name is Elisa. If you are following me on social media, usually you would see the name Alice D. Bloom or Alice Delphi Bloom. I don't have any preference for my name. You can call me Alice, you can call me Elisa, whatever feels more natural to you. But my passport name is Elisa. Enough about me, tell me about you. Actually, if you feel like it, if you're ready for it, you can go ahead and write me something about you in the comments, because for now I feel like it will be a very small gang of people who are listening to my ASMR-ish vibe chill podcast. So it's nice if we get to know each other and have like a little cozy group that gathers once a week and talks about something that usually people don't talk about. Why I think I am insane? Because for the most time of my life, I thought that I was pretty normal. Even a little thought of me maybe not being okay, me maybe not being normal, was so frightening, was so frightening and so triggering that I was very offended if somebody would ask me if I'm mentally ill, if I have this or that. I was like, no, I am normal. I am not like those mentally ill bitches. And well, time goes on, things change, and you open your eyes on some patterns that you have and some things that you have in your brain that actually don't work the same way for other people. And you start wondering, maybe I am insane. Maybe I do have some mental disorders. Maybe I am neurodivergent, because some of those things would explain what's happening to me or what was happening to me before. Maybe I do have depression. Maybe I do have anxiety, not in a normal human level, but as a disorder where I cannot soothe myself in usual ways. And all of that wondering led me to thinking that I could help somebody with my rambling about it, especially since I've had those thoughts a while ago and I got more comfortable with the thought that I might be insane and it's okay, and that most people are not mentally stable. If a person thinks that they are mentally stable, there is a very big chance that they just haven't explored the possibility of that being not actually true. So, what can you expect from this podcast? First of all, I want to do a very close up to microphone talks. I want to talk with a very, very soothing voice. So, when we're touching very sensitive topics that might trigger you, at least you have a very soothing voice talking to you about something that is not very nice and not very comfortable to talk about or think about. Of course, it will be much more soothing and comfortable when I do have the air protector, but we will have to endure those sounds for just a little bit more. Another thing that you can expect from this podcast is topics about life and spirituality and mental health, which I think you already understood. I actually want to connect them all together because I don't think that this generation where was I going with that? I don't think that mental health can exist without spirituality. Our mission here on earth and the energies that we feel affect a lot what we're experiencing with our mental health. It's not like everything that is quote unquote wrong with our psyche can be fixed with spirituality, but it also cannot be seen as two separate things that don't influence each other. We will explore how and why are we here. We will explore how the world works, at least from my perspective, from my observation, and we can also discuss it. We can also have a two-sided communication. It's not like I'm closed off to your view. If you are into philosophical wanderings about life, if you are into past lives, if you are into manifesting, if you are into mental health, and if you are a woman in her 20s or 30s, this will be a perfect podcast for you. Also, if you are into ASMR, because if you don't find this type of talking soothing or even comfortable or nice, then the only thing that you will get from my podcast is irritation, and that is not what I want from you or from me, from this podcast. What did I want to talk about in this specific episode with you? And what did I say in this specific episode? A few months ago in February, I was talking about life philosophies as a basis of what I'm doing. And I got very, very deep into them. And I hope you know what Hygge and Ikigai are. Hygge is a life philosophy and also a feeling of coziness. Hygge is surrounding yourself and putting yourself in situations that evoke that feeling of being at home, but like at a peaceful, caring home. Everything that feels very cozy for you, very warm, very light. And Ikigai is a life philosophy from Japan. As far as I remember, I think it's a Japanese life philosophy that talks about how you should live your life. Ikigai consists of you doing what you know, what you can do, what you enjoy doing, something that brings you money, and something that contributes to society. So it's not like you're just living for yourself there and don't care about other people. No, it's like your way of living should come from these 4 big basic values. So it should be something that you can do, that you're maybe talented in, maybe you just devote yourself to that thing and you see that your efforts are actually paying off. The second thing, you should really enjoy it. It shouldn't be something that burns you out very fast or somebody else's dream. It shouldn't be something that you think you want to do and enjoy doing. It should be something that you actually like doing and something that brings you money. There are a lot of things that we enjoy doing and we can do good. Not a lot of those things can bring us money. Ikigai thought of that and was like, it should be something that will give you food and roof over your head and a living, so you wouldn't do it from a place of need. And of course, it should be something contributing to the society, something that other people might need. When I was thinking about whether I should or shouldn't do this podcast from the point of view of this philosophy, I wasn't sure about 2 things in it. If that is something that would bring me money, and if it's something that other people actually need. I am getting interrupted all the time because all of my equipment that I have for this is not at the level that I would like it to be. So I don't have anywhere to put my camera. I don't have a lot of card speed, so it's stopping all the time. My battery isn't charged, but I'm very motivated, so let's continue. So when I started thinking about this podcast, I was like, I really want to share my thoughts, everything that I actually gathered from the world. It could seem that I cannot possibly have that much experience in the world, that I'm too young, but I've experienced enough and I've pondered about life enough to have a lot of things and insights that I think would be beneficial for a lot of people. So I decided that probably it is something that would do good. As for the financial aspect, well, you never know if something that you're doing would bring you money. If you wouldn't do anything, then for sure you wouldn't have any money. That's the logic that I'm following here. You know, in Ukraine, when you're doing your first palachinkin, crepes, I don't know how you call it in your country, basically some version of pancakes. I'm trying to fix the lighting situation, but I don't think I can. This is probably the podcast episode that my friends are listening, so there's not that high chance of me being very embarrassed of myself of how this one turned out. I also don't know how much I will cut out of it. So if you're watching this and I left a lot of stuff in, you should feel special. I wouldn't just leave it if I didn't think it was funny or worth watching. Back to the topic. So I decided that this podcast would fit the Ikigai logic and view of life and philosophy perfectly, because it's something that I enjoy doing, something that I would say I can do good, something that could bring me money, maybe, and something that would be beneficial to you, which is one of the most important things. And so I decided to tell everybody that I think I am insane. And this is our group therapy. Because if you're listening to this podcast, something in your heart, something in your brain responded to the name of the podcast. And it was like, oh, it might be about me too. I'm curious to hear also what are the philosophies of life that you are following. Because this is just my two that I would love to implement in every aspect of my life. I want to have that aesthetically cozy, aesthetically satisfying life everywhere I go. And also that all of the things that I do, all of the things that I choose in life follow the Ikigai principles. If everybody could live like that, that would be a perfect world. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. And I choose to see the world in a nice, positive way. So I would say we're not there yet, but we're on the way. So this is it. This is a pretty short podcast episode, but I'm not sure that I will be doing them very long. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you like this slightly chaotic vibe and slightly ASMR-ish vibe. And I hope that I gave you something to think about today. Oh, there is like an interesting bird. It's not... Oh, wow. I don't think it's a pigeon. I think it's some other bird. That's so rare. I like almost never see any other bird in the city except from crows and pigeons, but this bird doesn't seem to be any of those. Well, that was some ADHD in the room. I hope this podcast was everything that you expected it to be when you clicked on it. Have a nice time after you finish listening to this, and we will see each other or hear each other in the next episode. Thank you for your attention, and